Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Yemi Cardoso, is slated to engage with foreign portfolio investors in a crucial meeting on Thursday, February the 29th this year. This strategic dialogue, organized by the Nigerian Exchange Group in partnership with the CBN and supported by financial powerhouses such as Standard Bank, Citibank, JP Morgan and Standard Chartered, underscores a concerted effort to strengthen the ties between Nigeria's financial sector and the global investment community.
The Nigerian Customs Service says it is taking disciplinary action against one of its personnel for allegedly 500,000 naira worth of an extortion. The customs officer, Ibrahim Suleiman, was said to have extorted 500,000 naira from a car buyer named Mohammed Ahmed along Mokwa Jeba Road in Niger State on the 22nd of February. Now, in a statement posted on its verified Facebook page, the Customs noted that the comptroller of the Federal Operations Unit Zone B in Kaduna, Dalha Chedi, handed over the accused officer to the Assistant Provost of Marshal Customs Police Unit in Kaduna on Monday. Well, Arise business anchor Boason Omofaye joins us now to discuss all of these topics. Well, always good to have you here with us.
Quite a whole lot to the table. It's a whole lot of money moving around.
I hope you have eaten and you're ready.
I'm always following the money.
Okay, let's go. All right, the National Bureau of Statistics just released some of the selected prices of the food, and let's talk about what we're seeing.
You got me head scratching.
It's painful for our pockets and our bellies and just our overall well-being. But
it's not okay for nutrition for those who have, for women and children, nursing mothers and young ones who are in schools. I don't think this is a very pleasant time because the basic amenities that you need to have a decent meal, even for the working populace, because if folks can't eat decent meal, and how do they get the kind of mental nutrition and health that they need to work to be productive citizens, whether they're in the civil, public service or private sector. So health is wealth, but then health is not about going to the pharmacy and getting drugs. The first line of healthcare is food and nutrition, not before you even approach a drugstore or whatever, or for medication, whatever. So if the basic items you're looking at on the screen right now has gone significantly higher in January, we're looking at figures that are heartbreaking in a manner of speaking, if you want to put it very mildly. And this is just coming a few weeks, just about a week or two after the Bureau of Statistics says that inflation in the country just went up to 29.9%. These figures here, 1 kg of rice moved significantly higher, 98%, roughly 99, about 98.7% for 1 kg of rice. If you look at that jump on a year-on-year basis between January last year and this year, and you have almost 100% upside in the price of rice alone. And you go through all the other items line by one, you find out that things are really tough right now. Folks are just barely surviving to make ends meet. So the whole hard times protest by the Labour Congress and others seem to lend credence to these, that these are very difficult, very, very, very difficult times. These are prices that will bog anyone's mind. If you look at minimum wage, whether in the public sector or the private sector, folks are living right now just at the edge of going under the water, in the manner of speaking. So these are very pretty unpleasant times. And those of you who maintain the kitchens know a lot better than I do. But I also do, because I also write the check or I do the transfer. So we're all hurting. Yeah. Either way, Tokwe knows.
Well, I'm sure our knows as well. We all know, because we all eat.
We all know, because you go to restaurants these days and it looks like,
who goes to restaurants? You better cook at home. There's food at home.
Here we go. Home economics. I think home economics, I'm talking smiling. Remember home economics in those days? I'm sure those textbooks you use in secondary school are no longer useful, in a manner of speaking, because inflation, cost of everything, stone everything, and even the cost of energy to put a fry pan or whatever on gas, just to power the gas alone to get it done, or get kerosene. So we're going back to using firewood and things like that. And so for one of the world's largest oil and gas producer, as a country, an exporter, by the way, is pretty bad news for 220 million of us that we can't seem to have wrapped our heads around sustainable food production, sustainability in terms of energy. That it all seems that we're just grappling like a jigsaw puzzle. We don't seem to know whether to turn it up or down, whatever we want to put it. But the earlier we fix food and agriculture, farming, and everything in between, the nutrition, the better for each and every one of us, because we don't want to see what the other side of that will look like. So right now, folks are close to the edge, because not just food prices, like I said, energy prices, transportation prices, clothing, healthcare, drugs, medications, they're all rushing on Nigerians on a day-to-day basis, and folks are beginning to say, who do we turn to? Who do I turn to? So the whole idea to get more land from our farmers, to give paddy rice, to extend our agric season. I want to see and hear more from the agric minister beyond press statements, what is being done. I want to see the Minister of Agriculture rallying his colleagues across the 36 states and the Federation. By now, we haven't seen one single summit or conference on agriculture sustainability in Nigeria since last year, since the new administration took office. I'm waiting to see the minister convene a national food emergency meeting with not the state governors, the commissioners for agriculture across the 36 states of the federations, and bringing our development partners, the World Bank, the UNDP, those who are doing Fadama, whatever, the private sector, the Lowlam, the Dangote, the Boa Foods, and the rest of them into the room, and we convene. So it was good, Mr. President, a few days ago, had the Economic Advisory Committee, whatever, but I want to see one on food that brings the 36 states and local government, if possible, into the same room, and we can begin to harvest critical ideas of what can be done at the basic level, at local government levels, and so beyond issuing press statements from Abuja. I would like to see it at local government, state government levels. I think that has to happen, and very quickly. Let everybody show up and show us what exactly is being done beyond, again, distributing food from warehouses and what have you. Look, those foods were finished. They're all packaged. We're going to spend some money buying from our neighbors, whatever, but we also need to produce what we eat, and we need to get people back to work.
Well, the cynic in me is wondering if we need more talk show. But anyway, my next question, Mr. Boason. The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the monetary policy rate by 400 basis points to a record 22.75%. What's your take on this?
My take is that's what we call undressing in public. It just goes straight. I'm sorry, it's a market terminology, and I spent all my years in the marketplace. It's what you call you undress in public. That is, when you go as a listed company and you publish your accounts with transparency and full disclosure. That's what we call undressing in public. So my apologies for that. But again, that's what it means. What the central bank just did, what Cardoso just did, was to undress in public and say, look, we're going the whole hog. Some folks were saying 100, 200. Some folks were saying we won't go beyond 300. And he just took the whole bullet by doing 400 basis points. Now, let's work our way backwards from here and see how we can target inflation far more close. 18.75% to inflation at 30%, the gap was too long. So you just breach that a little bit, and then it makes inflation targeting a little bit easier to work with. There are some downsides to it in the immediate. Of course, yes, there will be. Now, this is the time now for the fiscal authorities, the government, to lend a helping hand to the central bank in ensuring that this job is not too difficult for the central bank to achieve, not just in terms of inflation, but also to achieve economic growth.
Meanwhile, the CBN Governor, Yemi Cardoso, is slated to engage with foreign portfolio investors. What do you think about that?
Yes, that's scheduled for tomorrow and 4 p.m., just around sometime tomorrow. So I think it's good. This is the first time ever that you have a central bank governor talk to foreign portfolio investors immediately after a monetary policy meeting. It is also good. These are the folks that we've all talked about over the last months and years, that they should come back into Nigeria, bring in the hard-earned FX in every form, and come into the Nigeria space. I'm sure you remember the interview we had with Cardoso, the Arise exclusive, just a few weeks ago before the MPC, and he spoke that, look, he is interested in foreign portfolio investors. Whether we like it or not, we need them in the market. And I love this. And what I love about this engagement is that it has the Nigerian exchange group, not just the central bank. Now, any investor coming to any market will look at two areas. You look at your central bank, they look at your securities market, which the NGX represents. The NGX, the stock exchange, represents a window through which some of the foreign portfolio investors will want to come in. And then, because the fund they're going to bring in will come in through the central bank, and of course this goes into portfolio, picking up assets on the exchange, and of course a few others will go into debt, bond, or what you call GITs, and all of that. So this is good to have the securities markets in, the central bank also in, both of them weighing in and what are the opportunities, what are the benefits that are on the market, the level kind of returns that we've seen in this market, the level of confidence that investors would want to see will come from both Cardoso. Based on his outing yesterday, his debut yesterday, he's come out very well yesterday. I think everyone agreed that he looks like someone who knows what he's doing and is ready to do it and is walking the talk. Now, to have the Nigerian exchange in the same room and talk to the big boys, whether they're JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Black, whatever, everyone else, all the big deep pocket investors, those who have very strategic assets and investment, as well as creditors as well. Remember, those who are holders of our commercial Eurobonds and what have you, and those who hold assets, bonds that are floated by banks, by Nigerian banks as well, all of them will be listening to this conversation tomorrow. So I love it. And I think this is the kind of engagement and collaboration that should be happening moving forward more between government agencies. Okay, so and that gives a whole lot more confidence into what we'll be telling foreign investors if you have not just the central bank, who is financial regulator, but also the stock exchange in the same room talking to them.
Well, actually, I know it says Wednesday, the 28th of February on the flyer but it's actually Thursday. It's Thursday, the 29th of February, tomorrow.
It's a private meeting in the manner of speaking, because these guys want to have this conversation in terms of, let's just speak naturally to each other, tell me the truth, what's on the table, put all the cards on the table, face up, and don't do any Russian roulette with me. That's it.
Please.
So, and but this is really good, and I think we need to do more of talking to these international portfolio investors. The Mr. President has done quite a lot since he came into office. Go to India, go to China, go to a few places, and asking for deep pocket investors to come do FDI. Now, the central bank governor now needs to talk to the portfolio investors. Those ones are faster and quicker in bringing those foreign currencies into the economy than the FDI. So it's well understandable. And if the FPIs are coming in, that Cardoso and the exchange will speak to, then you show that the foreign direct investors doing the manufacturing, logistics, especially economic zones, whatever, those ones will definitely be watching the body language of the FPIs to also come in as well.
All right. Well, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Let's talk about these indicted customs officials. The EFCC is after them. What do you know about this?
I don't know anything about the money. Just in case you're trying to find out. I don't know anything about the money.
But isn't that quite an interesting...
But what I saw, what was your producer put on the screen was quite 12 billion or whatever, tens of alleged... I'm looking at 12 billion somewhere at the far... Yeah, it's the total amount traced to 7 custom officers, 12 billion naira. Is that...
This is a surprising number for us.
Yes, I'm looking at the tally there. I'm following the money. The final one on that, look at the bottom, looks like 9.5 billion is the money. That's the proceed that he allegedly received. 50 million had been returned. 50 million out of 9.5 billion? Well, the guy's still home and dry with enough money to live happily ever after. But again, this tells us that there's a whole lot going on. And I want to say a lot that the EFCC has been trying in recent years. They've been working really hard. And the whole issue around, I'm sure we heard recently about 32, 36 smuggling routes were identified by the government, whether it's rice or used to be petrol tankers from our imported petrols that go across to Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Benin, Togo, and all our friendly and unfriendly neighbors around. You know, Nigeria is surrounded by all this, with the exception of Atlantic Ocean to the south. So the rest is just free kind of a way. So a smuggler's paradise made possible by these unscrupulous elements. And I think just has a few of them that are engaging in this within the customs, but the amount involved is quite hefty by these allegations by the EFCC. I think the current customs comptroller general seem to have his boot on the ground. I'm sure they're in hand together with the EFCC. Some of the disclosures shouldn't come out. Okay, now you have names and figures put to this misbehavior, as it were. So that shows that the current Comptroller General is taking a page from the hymn book from Mr. President, because again, if we continue to run smuggling paradise here, in which everything is a free-for-all, look, the whole idea, whether we produce enough food and some of it are going out of the country, was not making any sense.
All right, Mr. Sanka, Boason Omofaye, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it.